welcome to the new week. And I thought it might be of interest to talk for a few minutes about Sarah Rainsford and all the stuff which is going on about her and about her role as a BBC reporter, formerly in Moscow, where she was reporting on Russian politics for about 20 years. And yesterday, on the Andrew Marr show, the Russian ambassador, Andrei Kelin, said that he scotched the idea which she'd been given when she left Russia, when the security agents from the FSB said that she was a serious security risk. He said, no, it's all tit for tat. She can come back to Russia as soon as the British give Russian journalists visas. Well, I know something about Russian journalists. I actually ran a course in one of the universities about journalism. I actually taught journalists. What I didn't teach them, sadly, was journalistic ethics, and I fell foul of my own omission, because I was interviewed a few times on a program, one of the main programs on Russian TV, one of the main sort of news programs on Russian TV. You wouldn't necessarily know it by the amount of rather sort of dodgy music which was played throughout the entire program. This is a program called Itoji Nedeli, State of the Week or something. And on the 31st of March in 2018, I think it was, I was interviewed about British politics, and the words which I said were overdubbed with words which I never said. At no point in the interview did I say what they presented me as saying. It was outrageous, really. I suppose they judged that I, A, wouldn't see the interview, B, wouldn't be able to understand, and C, wouldn't have any chance of redress. I did protest. I got taken to the studio, and I was promised a meeting with the anchorman, a lady called Irada Zainalova. Again, a bit of a dodgy lady, but I didn't see her. I saw some sort of junior producer who gave me coffee. Yeah, I really raise an eyebrow when someone gives me coffee. Gave me coffee in a canteen and expected me to pay. Really. It takes the biscuit. I didn't get a biscuit either, by the way. Anyway, I pursued the matter. I eventually reported the matter to the BBC. There's quite a nice document on BBC monitoring about this. And the point was, I wasn't the only person. There's a man called Professor John Curtis from Strathclyde University. He's always wheeled out when there's an election because he's a cephalogist. This is a rather strange subject. He analyses how people vote in elections. So he's always there on hand at election time. And yes, words were put into his mouth as well. But unlike me, he hadn't taken a contemporaneous recording. I asked the cameraman, who was very nice. I asked the cameraman if I could record the interview at the same time, and I was able to place my recording next to what they actually screened, and there was quite a significant difference. So we've got this standard of reporting in modern Russia. Now, I know so many Russian journalists, as I say, because I taught them. And so many of them are honest and upfront and really good journalists. They deserve to be representing their country all over the world and doing their job. But when it comes to production, their job is compromised by political expediency and really dodgy activity, which I, as I say, have been subject to. So I can understand why people might be reluctant to grant visas. I think they're looking at the wrong end of the story. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with Russian journalists. I think there's something very wrong with Russian broadcasting. And the two things are different. And actually what we want, more than anything else, what we want is for Russian journalists and for people from Russia, from other countries, to see how things are done properly. Insofar as we might be doing things properly here, I think in many ways we also need to be held to account. We also need to be questioned. And I don't think we should necessarily be selecting who questions us. As for Sarah, well, she's got such an illustrious career. I mean, first of all, she was at Fitzwilliam in Cambridge, and then she went to Russia right at the start of Mr. Putin's reign. And she was there with a brief interlude. I think she went to Istanbul for a while. She was there for pretty well the whole time. So if anybody has that scope to assess Mr. Putin, it is Sarah Rainsford, and it's a great sadness, I think, for journalism in general, that she's no longer representing us in Moscow. She was at the she was at that theatre siege by the Chechen rebels in Nordost. She was at the siege at Belsaro. I mean, she was at all the important events. She has perspective. I think it's a great. I think what's happened to her is a great sadness, and I think it needs to be reversed as soon as possible. And if what Andrei Kellin, the ambassador, is saying is that she doesn't pose a security threat, which of course she doesn't, then maybe second thoughts are being had, and maybe this is a positive move. I like to think the best of everybody. So I like to think the best even of Mr. Putin. I like to think the best even of reality TV. I like to think the best even of Irada Zainalova. I like to think that people can change. It's only when people change that we have interesting drama, after all. Drama is about transformation. We want people to change. People will only change when they are asked interesting questions and when they are put under the spotlight, when they know people are watching. That is when people change. It's when people like Sarah Rainsford ask the questions that we see proper change. So there we are. I've waffled on rather a lot today, and I'm feeling a little lightheaded, but please do follow my channel. Please do ring my bell. If there's one thing that gets me up in the morning, it's the thought of somebody ringing the bell. So thank you very much for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.